arriving in Alice Springs, probably my favourite city in Australia and a great place to do some hiking on the Larapinta Trail.
The camel farm that she was finally successful with is just over my right shoulder on the other side of the river there.
This is the John Flynn Memorial Church in Alice Springs. It was named in honour of the Reverend John Flynn, who led the establishment of the Australian Inland Mission, which then became the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Australia. There is something special about the freedom of camping and hiking in the Mount Giles area. No permits, no restrictions, no one to tell you what to do. Looking over there towards Ormiston Pound, you can see the track heading down into the pound. Looks like they've had a big fire over there recently, last 12 months or so. Some beautiful little flowers here, crossing Ormiston Pound. Getting like little whitish purple. There's Mount Giles. We've crossed about 3/4 of the pound, I think. So I'll probably climb that tomorrow. Some water in a little creek on Ormiston Pound. Lucky to find this, wasn't expecting it. One of the great things about hiking in Australia is you can come to these remote campsites and not see anyone. So this is the campsite for night one. We'll probably have to walk a bit further to the east to find the ascent ridge going up Mount Giles and also the water source. Probably about 1.5 kilometres to walk tomorrow morning, I think. At the tent at night, and it's blowing a force 9 gale here, so hopefully the tent holds up. So I've come across a little campsite here with some water, but the little camping pad there is pretty close to being under this tree in a dead branch, so if that fell off that could injure or kill a hiker, so I don't think I'll be camping there tonight. I'll look for another spot nearby, but there's water here anyway. Some more water here, about 70 or 80 metres up from the where I've left my pack down there. So we've gone up the creek about 150, 200 metres. There's this little waterfall here with a big pool of water at the bottom. Go down a tree or two as well. This is a fairly relaxing 6-day trip, so I brought along a book that I can read in the periods of time that I'm not hiking. Here's some nice, clean, fresh drinking water in this little pool in the creek or gully immediately west of the Mount Giles ascent ridge. I'll be camping about 5-10 minutes from here. There aren't many trees like this on the side of Mount Giles and the ridgeline, but there's one of them. Bit of a narrow spot on the ridge, not exactly a razorback perhaps, but not that far from the summit up there. You can see there you've got some of the lower peaks of Mount Giles, Ormiston Gorge there in the middle, Mount Sonder also in the middle background, and that's Mount Seal over to the right, and up there you've got the summit of Mount Giles. Only about 100 metres to go, I think. Here we are, approaching the summit of Mount Giles. come up from the creek campsite number 2 today in a couple of hours. Not a bad climb. One of the camping pads, only about 10 metres from the summit of Mount Giles, and there's the most common descent route, and the camping creek with water, reliable water for much of the year apparently, perhaps not every year but for much of the year. And a tidal rate would be over there on that range. Okay, coming down the descent ridge of Mount Giles. It's quite a reasonable climb up here. A bit rocky and loose footing, but just take care, it shouldn't be any problem. Further down the descent ridge, and there's the creek where my tent is and the nice water source. I first came looking for this creek and this ascent route in 1997 or 1998 and couldn't find it at the time, so I'm back here about 25 years later. Amazing, really. Back at the creek now. It only took us less than 2 hours, I think. But there's the campsite and the tent over there. Gonna have a cooked lunch today. I think I'm gonna go for the Radix basil pesto, which I've never had before, but it sounds nice. There's something special about this ancient country, one of God's truly great creations. Camp is packed up. It's about 8:15 in the morning, and then we'll walk across Ormiston Pound over towards Ormiston Gorge. About 70 to 80% of the pound has been burnt out by a fire, so that part will be easy walking, hopefully. Been walking for about 3/4 an hour since the campsite this morning, going through this grassy, rocky country. A bit of spinifex perhaps. Trying to get to that burnt out area down there, because once you get to the burnt out area it's relatively clear of vegetation, it's easy walking. And there's Ormiston Gorge over in the background to the right of that big mountainous knoll there, behind that little tree there. Crossing this rocky sandy creek bed here. So I reached the burnt out section of Ormiston Pound. And it's relatively clear of vegetation, so it's much easier walking going across here. I've reached this fence line, which is part way across Ormiston Pound. This fence line was here in 1997 or 1998 when I came across here. There's the Ormiston Gorge cafe and camping area down there. That's where we headed. A nice meal at the end of the 4-day Mount Giles walk. Focaccia, muffin and a skim milk iced coffee. Waiting in the shade, trying to get a lift back to Alice Springs. back in Alice Springs, just heading over the Todd River.